Hello friends, today we are learning the concept of percentage which we have to study in class 7 and class 8. So if I tell you a student scored 81 marks out of 90 marks, the maximum marks were 90 and this student scored 81. In another school, the maximum marks were 80 and the student scored 72 marks out of 50. Now, if I ask you which student has performed better, right? It's a difficult answer. Why? Because here the denominator is 90, here the denominator is 80. If I tell you a student scored 81 out of 100, and if I tell you a student scored 85 out of 100, so obviously the student has performed better. Here the comparison was easy because the denominators were the same. Here the comparison is little difficult. So normally if I ask this question to the students, they tell me that this student has performed better. Why? They say the difference of these two is 8. So this student has lost only 8 marks. The difference of these two is 9. So this student has lost 9 marks. Right? So students say this student has performed better. But let's understand which student has performed better. Right? Let's apply unitary method to this. So if the maximum marks are 90, right? Marks scored is equal to 81. If the maximum marks were 90, the marks scored is equal to 81. In unitary method, we calculate for one quantity. If the maximum marks are 1, so marks scored will be 81 upon 90. If the maximum marks are 100, right? So the marks scored will be 81 by 90 multiplied by 100. So what we're trying to do, we are trying to make the base here 100 and also we are trying to make the base here 100 so that comparison is easier. That is what the concept of percentage is. This means per and cent. This is per cent. Cent means 100. $1 has 100 cents. Or we say century in cricket. Century means 100 runs. So we're trying to calculate per 100. Right? So if the maximum marks were 100, this student would have got. So you can find out. So this will be 90. Now, since these 90 marks are out of 100, right? This is 90 per 100 or 90%. So we write this as 90%. This symbol is for percentage. 90% means 90 out of 100. So I converted the marks of this student to percentage. And what I have done is I have simply multiplied this fraction by 100. Original fraction was 81 by 90. मैंने क्या किया? मैंने 100 से multiply. So if I multiply a fraction by 100, right, it gets converted into percent. So now this student has got 90% marks. Now let's try and find it for the other student who got 72 out of 80. We just see to convert a fraction to a percentage, just multiply by 100. So let's multiply by this 100. If you further simplify, you find this is also 90%. So this student has also got 90%. This student also had got 90%. So both have performed at the same level. So this logic that this student lost 8 marks and he lost 9 marks, so that logic is invalid. The performance of both the students is the same. So this is the entire concept of percentage where we try and make the base 100 so that the base is same for all of them and the comparison becomes easier. The first learning is to convert a fraction into percentage, just multiply by 100. You don't have to do anything else. Now supposing I have a chocolate here and I gave half of chocolate to you. So in fractions I have given you 1 by 2. In percentage how much I have given you? Just multiply by 100 and add the symbol of percentage. You don't have to do anything else. 1 by 2 into 100, so 50%. So that's what we normally say 50-50 karenge. So we divide half up, right? 50% means you take one half and I take the other half. So that is what the concept of percentage is. So just multiply by 100 in order to convert. Okay, now in this case, if somebody says 50% has to be converted back to the fraction, then what do we do? This 50% is 50%, right? So 50% is 50 per 100, yani 50 per 100. Let's simplify this. In the lowest form, this is 1 by 2. So we got back the original fraction, which was 1 by 2. So what I've done here is I have divided this term by 100, right? So that helps me converting from percentage to fraction. Or in other words, as a shortcut, you may remember, if you have to remove the symbol of percentage, just divide by 100 or multiply by 1 by 100. So that is one and the same thing. If 25% is there and I have to convert it back to the fraction, so what I have to do is just divide by 100. Or you can remember like this. So instead of the symbol of percentage, I can write 1 by 100. And that's what I've done here. 25 into 1 by 100. Once I simplify this, so I get 1 by 4. So converting a fraction to percentage and vice versa, right? So that we've seen by now. So if I ask you, there is a student, so out of 600 marks, he got 540 marks. So he got 540 out of 600 marks. So how much percentage did he get? So converting to percentage is easy. So just multiply by 100. So this is 90%, right? So now let's understand the two terms. One is part quantity and one is whole quantity. Here the maximum marks were 600. So this is the whole quantity. He got 540. So this is the part quantity. So if a student says, I got 90% marks, right? And maximum marks were 600. So if we have to calculate his actual marks, so we have to calculate this part quantity. How much marks did he get out of 600, right? So how we calculate is part quantity is P percentage into the whole quantity. Here the whole quantity is 600. This is the maximum marks that we could have got, and this is referred to as the whole quantity here. So part quantity is P% into the whole quantity. So how much marks will he get? So his actual marks is equal to 90% is what? So 90% of the whole quantity is 600. Now 90% can be written as 90 by 100. To remove the percentage, we can write 1 by 100 into 600. So this gives you 500. Alright, so now we are coming to the application. The first is you are given the maximum marks, or in other words, you are given the whole quantity. You have to find the part quantity. How much marks did he get out of those 600? Right? So that is part quantity is P percentage into the whole quantity. So this is how we can calculate the part quantity. So let me take another example. So total, supposing you have 1000 gram of sweets with you, right? And you have to give 40% to first student. So first student will get 40% of this whole quantity. 1000 grams is the maximum quantity you have. So this is the whole quantity. आपने first student को देनी है part quantity. So the first student gets how much? P% into the whole quantity. So 40% of the whole quantity, which is 1000 grams. So 40 by 100 into 1000. So this is 400 grams. So this is how you calculate the part quantity when you know the whole quantity. The second aspect could be you have to calculate the whole quantity when the part quantity is known. For example, a student says, I got 90% marks. And he says in actual, he got 540 marks. But the maximum marks are not known. So how do we calculate these maximum marks? Now we don't know the whole quantity. What is known to us is the part quantity. Alright? So maximum marks, we can call this term as X. So as we learned the formula, part quantity is P% into the whole quantity. In this particular question, we got 540 marks, so that is the part quantity. P%, he got 90%, so I write 90%. Now you know that 90% can be written as 90 by 100 into the whole quantity. Whole quantity we have to find, and I have called this term as X. So we have to calculate this X here. So once we simplify this, 600 is equal to X. So this is how we can calculate the whole quantity. If we know the part quantity and the percentage, right? So I'll take another example. So there was total sum of money, right? First person got 12% of the total, and he actually got rupees 108. There was some money, we don't know how much money it was, so let that term be X. This person got 12% of that money, and in actual he got rupees 1080. So what is the maximum money that was available? Again, here we know the part quantity and the P%. We do not know the whole quantity. So formula remains the same. Using this very formula, so we can calculate. So part quantity is 1080. P%, he got 12%. Now 12% is written as 12 by 100. Whole quantity we have called it as X. So once we simplify, so we come to know the whole quantity. So once we simplify this, so we get 9,000. So total 9,000 rupees were available. This first person was given 12%, which means he got 10. So four basic concepts you need to understand. How to convert a fraction to a percentage. How to convert percentage to a fraction. How to find the part quantity in case the whole quantity is given and the percentage is given, and vice versa. Right? How to find the whole quantity in case the part quantity and the percentage is given. Right? So in my next video, I will cover things like cost price, selling price, profit percentage, all these concepts which we use in our daily lives also, and in the competitive exams as well. Remember, things like percentage, cost price, selling price, these are very, very favorite topics of any competitive exam. So good clarity of this is a must. So do watch my next video on cost price, selling price. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, Magical Academy, Atul Garg. Thank you so much.